grew up from a family which is not really, my father's a construction worker and my mom doesn't have a job. My father had to support 5 kids. So looking in the future as a kid, actually, we can tell, like my brothers and sisters can tell that our father can afford sending us to high school and college. So from there, my siblings and I, we talk that we assist each other going to school. Like our eldest go to school, once he's done, get a job, then pass on to the other, into the next one, until it came to me, and then it's my turn to send my sister to school. This story actually is not just about me, it's about also my family, my brothers and sisters. So from that, each of us, we curved the image of ourselves. We supported ourselves to bring each other to school, to send each other to college. My brother would take some odd jobs, working now as a manager. He's doing really well. My sister also. And up to me, I came to realize that success is not actually about finances. It's about how are we successfully molding ourselves to fit into the environment or to society, and at the same time have that satisfaction.
Emerge Stories is a place where, as the name implies, you are going to hear stories. Stories from people all over the Philippines who have come from many different types of backgrounds, and especially people who have gone through struggles, people who have gone through the challenging parts of life. And I hope that these stories will relate for you in some way, that some of these stories will really land for you, because these people have gone through probably just about the same thing you might be going through right now. Welcome once again to Emerge Stories. I'm excited to be joined this week by Kyle Jocson. He is a contemporary realist artist specializing in oil paint on canvas and wood, as well as he is a concrete sculptor. Kyle is a really interesting guy with a lot of life experience and somebody I've enjoyed having a lot of conversations with. He's also extremely focused on personal growth and trying to decide who he wants to be in the future. One of the things I loved, a quote by Kyle, he said, "Success is being able to create that version of you that you always wanted to be." And I think that really is at the theme of the conversation that I had with Kyle, is crafting or sculpting the future you. Hope you guys really enjoy this conversation as much as I did. As always, it is the relatability of these stories that makes all the difference. So if there's somebody out there that may be an artist, or maybe somebody that you think Kyle's story would touch or inspire, please take a minute and share this with that person. That's how this can spread and get to the people that it's designed for. So thank you so much for being here as always, and let's jump into the story. Welcome, Kyle, to Emerge Stories. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Eli. Yeah, it's really great to have this interview. I've been so excited, actually. Yeah.
Nice. I've had some conversations with you and I know a little bit of your story, so I'm looking forward to going deeper. And yeah, I think you've got a pretty cool story that I'm looking forward to people hearing. You and I met a couple of years back, when I guess maybe 2 years ago or something like that. And we met in the area near Dumaguete. You were managing a resort.
Yeah.
But let's go back further back. Like, where are you originally from?
I'm originally from the other side of the island, Negros Occidental. So I grew up in Himam Island, not really familiar place or not really a known place. I lived in Bacolod for a couple of years.
Okay.
That's where I started my art career. Also ventured in Manila and then went back and put up some business. And
Okay, so I know you're an artist. Yeah, let's talk about where you are today. You're an artist, which I very much appreciate your art, and the art in my background is actually something you created.
Yeah.
What's your art career been like?
way back then when I was a kid, actually, I didn't know how to draw, but my brothers and sisters, they're really good at it. So inspired, and I want to do something like that. But yeah, it's actually music that I was into first.
Really?
I joined the Beagle Corps. Then when there's a place where we did like a concert, then I saw some people like painting, and I was like, oh, maybe I should go back and maybe I should try it again. Then I went back home, grabbed some pencil, some paper, started drawing, and I was like satisfied, but thinking that, oh, I want to do more. So that's where actually I started to like, maybe I should study. And then, so I read some few books about art. And there's one person there that actually inspired me. She's a sculptor.
Somebody you read about?
Yeah, Bobby Carlyle.
Okay.
She's made man sculpture. It actually tells about us, a person carving himself out from a rock. So like you're creating yourself. Yeah. So I went from there. If I want a path, so I should be making my own path. Like I should be curving myself out from that
I see.
rock, create myself. Yeah. Looking in the present now, I'm still actually in that learning phase, still carving myself, still creating that part of myself. But as of now, like I want to talk about success also. Yeah.
Yeah, what an amazing metaphor. The self-carved man. I talk a lot about the concept of deciding individual, like any one of us deciding to see ourselves as the sculptor and the clay.
Yeah.
Almost the same metaphor as like the self-carved man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to hear some of your stories. Maybe take us back to where did you start in life and what was your path supposed to be, or like how have you carved yourself so far?
Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty long story, but yeah, I'll start from the very beginning.
Okay.
I grew up from a family which is not really. My father's a construction worker, and my mom doesn't have a job. My father had to support 5 kids, and so looking in the future as a kid, actually, we can tell. Like my brothers and sisters can tell that our father cannot afford sending us to high school and college. So from there, my siblings and I, we talk that we assist each other going to school. So one, like our eldest, go to school once he's done, get a job, then pass on to the other and to the next one until it came to me, and then it's my turn to send my sister to school. Yeah, so that this story actually is not just about me; it's about also my family,
Your siblings.
my brothers, my brothers and sisters. So from that, each of us we curve the image of ourselves. We supported ourselves to bring each other to school, to send each other the best to college. My brother would take some odd jobs, working at Jollibee, stuff like that. And now he's a manager and he's doing really well. And my sister also. And up to me, I came to realize that success is not actually about finances. It's about how are we successfully molding ourselves to fit into that environment or to society, and at the same time have that satisfaction. As a kid, I was never really satisfied with what I'm getting. With, let's say, I'm already good at drawing since I was practicing, but I wanted more. I wanted to own this, keep practicing. And then one architect employed me as an apprentice when I was in high school. So I learned from there, drafting, stuff like that. And I enrolled myself to a music class where I joined the drum and bugle corps. So I learned music and everything about it. So it's just not so satisfied to what I'm getting. So just keep learning and learning.
Quick question.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you and some of your siblings were into the arts. Curious, did your parents encourage that a lot, or did you guys just take to it, or
just actually now my mother's not really she's very supportive at what we do in school, but art materials is quite expensive, so it's not really common in the household. I remember one time that I joined an art competition that I had to borrow from my mates or from the other contestant, which I won first place. I was really determined to reach a level or I have something to show to the world based on my drawing, so that I got first place. It was the theme about it is scarcity in water. I showed. Yeah.
Kind of curious about I know you're a really good artist now. I'm amazed with your work. I've even bought work from you. And so you got first place in this contest. You're saying that it's because you practiced. And didn't you say earlier that you weren't a natural at this, that your siblings were quite good at drawing or art, but you weren't at first, and that you had to practice a lot?
Yeah, that I have to spend day and night to just achieve the level that I wanted much.
What was the feeling that kept you going in practicing that much? Was it the feeling? Yeah, curious. What was the feeling that drove you to practice enough to become that good?
Oh, actually, it's crazy. You have to go out from yourself, and you have to really go crazy if you really attain that's something that you want to attain, that people are really looking at you, that you're already good and you have these skills already, and then I still can do more. And then you have this feeling that you cannot sleep, actually. Wee hours at night, you wake up and then you find yourself drawing and painting because you're seeing yourself that you can do something more. Yeah.
Nice.
And until now, I'm still having that.
Still like that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So you said you weren't really satisfied. Let's talk a little bit more about that. You weren't satisfied with what?
We're satisfied with what I'm producing because when you pay you create something, but you're visualizing something also. So you want to have a real time and realistic interpretation of that image. You want to show it. So then that you want to attain that level of accuracy also that
You
you're
want to be
trying
able
to
to like
project.
create what you can visualize.
Yeah.
Nice. And so what did the not being satisfied, what did that lead to?
Not being satisfied actually leads to what I am right now, like what I do have right now, and how I find satisfaction also. That I'm doing things now not enough, or mostly. So some people would be like looking at success as finances, but for me now, this dissatisfaction is being contented to what you're having, but at the same time trying to mold yourself for something better because you can do something more better. You can improve yourself more.
Okay. Nice. I just love how you focus so much on molding yourself. You talk about self-crafting and I really want to hear more about that journey. But before we go back to the specifics of the story, how do you see dissatisfaction versus gratitude? Like for me, like pursuing mastery or trying to improve all the time. Part of it is you have to feel good about yourself, right? You have to feel like you're actually making progress. You got to have you can't just be totally dissatisfied because that doesn't drive us, right? You got to have a vision of what you could create or who you could become. And you got to have some belief that you can actually create the future. You got to be able to believe you can get better. So how do you see dissatisfaction and being proud of yourself at the same time?
Every time I create a piece, and though for me it's not like really what I'm seeing, but I see people that gets involved or also gets connected with a piece that I'm making, and also like they get to connect or get the story of what I'm trying to convey. That for me is gratification. You don't need something like you're doing really well, but what I want to hear from people is that they're getting that story that I'm trying. That for me, it's satisfaction. That makes me keep going, improving myself because I want to do more. I want to give more of that message that I'm seeing, like I'm visualizing. Yeah.
Nice. What does that message, what do you think is so important about art?
Oh, yeah. That's a really good question. Well, the message actually that I'm trying to convey with my art is this is mostly about environment. I'm very strong environmentalist, like really strong. I have some background that I have to lobby some cases for those people, these capitalists that destroying our environment, especially in Negros Occidental. We have a lot of cases like that. But yeah, now I want to show that this destruction or global phenomena or like changing our climate is not doesn't just happen like in a snap. This it's actually like a progressive thing. Like little by little, we're destroying the planet that we're living in. So what I'm trying to convey is I want people to get more connected to our environment, to see that beauty, that we are part of it. And this, our feet on the ground is actually the roots that we are connected. Like we are trees also that we live and breathe all the other species. And the caring for one thing is for our environment or for the earth is a like little recycling is the best thing that we do steps by step, like little by little. But I want to also put up a big story. Like I want a huge impact, but the only, for me as an individual, the only thing you can do or the best thing you can do is put out a message that me as an artist, show that to the world, like visually, or if I can do it musically, then I'll do it sound. But
Nice. It's cool that you have not just creating art for the enjoyment of art and beauty, but that you have this message that drives you as well. Talk to us a little bit about this definition of success. And you said success for you is not just about financial. So how do you define success?
for me, I define success with it's more of a personal thing. Like I am satisfied with what I have every day, not financially, really, because we have to work ourselves out to just to get by. We do that like for a living. I think we're living in a typical capitalist environment. That's pretty normal. I'm looking at success in terms of self-development or like skills that we have achieved along the way as we curve ourselves. I know for one thing that I can survive whatever, say, global phenomena or challenges because I have skills. Like I can plant, I can build a house with my hand if I need to, like from the scratch. So for me, the skills that I have is what I call success. So molding that self-sustainable kind of individual, for me, that's a successful already.
Okay. So your version of success is constantly gaining new skills, growing, learning, like self-teaching, right?
Yes.
So other than art, which you've gone out there and intentionally made yourself into a really successful artist, I would say. I know it's a journey you're not finished with and you're going to keep improving. What are some of the other skills that you've built on purpose that you're proud of or that you feel like you've gotten to some
Yeah.
level that you're happy about?
I learned carpentry from my father. He's a really good carpenter. So I can
Me
build
too.
a house. Like
Cool. I didn't
can
know we
build a
shared
house
that.
from scratch. Yeah. And I grew up from a family of fishermen. So
Yeah.
I know how to fish and sail a boat. And the farming also is one thing.
Nice.
And yeah, I can plant, I can grow rice if there's need to be. Yeah. Anywhere I am in the whatever environment I have, I can adjust myself like instantly because I have the trainings and I have the skills that I know I can apply to mold myself and live in that flow. So for me, that's success for it. Yeah.
Nice. Let's go back to your story a little bit. You said that you got hired as an architect, or you got hired by an architect because of your artistic ability that you had developed. Is that right?
Yeah. So I joined a competition when I was in high school. I won first place, and one of the judge there was an architect, offered to give me a lesson, and that made me an apprentice for drafting. So we have to draft blueprints in the like manual way, like the traditional way, blueprinting. Like you use a LED light to create that image. You burn that paper to, yeah. That's why,
Fascinating.
yeah.
And did you
So
is that why you went to Manila or?
no, I did it in Himam Island in my hometown when I was in high
Okay.
school. Yeah. Yeah. I was employed for when I was high school. So like, I learned my way in the business or, yeah, entrepreneurship at an early age. I think that's another skills also that I learned along the way.
How did you learn entrepreneurship? What were the experiences that you had?
I get to learn that in every skills that you have, you get to earn something from it as long as you get better or you put all your best. I did blueprinting and we've been earning like enough to fund myself to high school and saving. I was saving also. Yeah. But in the elementary days, my mom would like make some this little overrun stuff like powdery sweets that we would sell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's to fund our allowance in school or also to fund our like, travel from home to the school. So we earned entrepreneurship there, like
Nice. From the beginning.
Yeah.
So you won this competition. You got an opportunity to be an apprentice with the architect, and that was still during high school, right? So
Yeah.
the money you were earning doing drafting and working on blueprints helped you get through high school. And then what about college?
With college, my brother would help me as we have that plan. We were small at the time. I remember maybe I was 5 years old when we had this agreement that one of us would send each other to school while we were passing it along.
How old
So
was your eldest sibling when you were 5?
I think it was like 16 or 17. I think it was in high school
So
or
quite a bit older than you. And he's the one, maybe some of your older siblings realized that they needed to take care of you guys, each other. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. And then what did you study in
Oh,
college?
I studied electronic engineering in
Really?
UP. Yeah.
And you,
I took the 3-year course. I did not proceed to be like an engineering because you have to study 2 more years to become like an engineer and take the bar.
Yeah.
Instead, I proceed to take English, AB English. Yeah. And I did some odd jobs also. Like I was teaching English for in a Korean school.
Okay.
Yeah.
nice. And then so you said you worked in Manila for a while, right?
Yeah.
And what was that work?
The work was we're servicing an internet company that is stationed in Bell, Canada.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Like
we
tech
are,
support?
yeah, tech support. I work with, we are the C and the CQ. Our mother company was Sarimanop. It's the old tech company that serves ABS, CBN before the television company. So it's quite old.
Okay. So doing tech support for clients both in the Philippines and abroad, or
Yeah,
just here? Both.
just Bell Canada, that's situated in Canada. Yeah.
Okay. But you
And
had also
client.
clients in the Philippines too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me, would you consider that the outsourcing industry? Do you think that's BPO or not really?
Yeah, it's a BPO. Yes. It
Okay.
is.
I've talked to a lot of people that have grown a lot when they were in that industry. What about you?
Well, yeah, I would think that part of my growth was from that company also. It gives you a different version of yourself. You have to create yourself from a different environment. But yeah, from a very introverted individual, I'm very introverted. I don't talk and share my stories before. And yeah, I don't do interviews. But yeah, working in that environment, you have to come out of that shell. You
Yeah.
create another one and you become the person that you get to voice yourself out and share things you have, your story, knowing that you get to inspire other people. So yeah, part of our training was we have this 2 month training that part of it is you share your skills, whatever you have to inspire your other teammates and you get to understand the diverse environment that you have, that you're not only this person or that person. And this diversity creates an environment of like togetherness, like you're like ants working for something and develop that something. Yeah.
Beautiful. Nice metaphor. Would you believe it that I actually was definitely an introvert as well? I started out.
Yeah, I think I see that.
Can see it. Okay.
That's
That's
it.
good.
Yeah.
Haven't lost it all the way. What was it like leaving the province of Negros Occidental and going to Manila to work in a BPO?
It's quite liberating, actually. You're from the conservative town, you not really see the world of what's really going on about. And I get to be in the environment, which is, yeah, the city life gives you a different perspective of what life is, actually. Like you have to work your ass out to feed yourself
Yeah.
and feed your family. But back in the province, you can just plant something and you get something to eat. You don't need to bother about earning. And I think that most people would think in the province that it's not really that main commodity, by growing or raising like livestock is something. So yeah, during the pandemic, I get to understand that more people are hungry actually in the city compared to those in the provinces or in the remote areas, wherein
Yeah.
people can just exchange with whatever produce they have, compared to like cities that you have to buy in something that you need money to get something or
Right.
for free food. Or
What would you say were some of the biggest changes to you? We started out this conversation with the metaphor of the self-carved man. What do you think changed the most about you during those years in Manila?
I think it's my introverted personality. I'm outgoing now, and I get to give a proper conversation and my communication skills, I guess, also.
Better.
And another thing is, what do you call this? You get to understand other people also, the way they talk. And
You mentioned learning that you could inspire other people. Was that in that job? Like, how were you able to inspire people that you worked with?
part of the tech support, we have a sales part that you need to sell something. So I shared my experiences like back in the province or back in the day, how I would sell something, like the business strategy part. Like, you need to sell like an internet service or a phone service to your customer that already has one. So you get to be creative about how you sell that. So yeah, sometimes it works. It actually really works. That shared how I would sell candies to people who already has candies at home.
Those that translated into the
Yeah.
different. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Thank you for sharing that. And then you came back to Negros again, right? And
Yeah.
what did you do after that?
After I was in Manila, I had incurred an illness, which is gastroenteritis. I was bleeding in the intestine.
Oof, really?
So my doctor advised me to change a lifestyle.
Do you think that was because of the kind of the diet and the lifestyle working and living in Manila, or what do you think it was?
Yeah, I think so. You eat fatty, oily foods and the stress that you have to work in the at nighttime, then just
Night
like in the
shift.
day. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my doctor advised me to change the lifestyle. the next thing I did is I crafted a resignation letter to our manager. And then I was like, okay, maybe I should go back, or maybe it's time that I should go back. Anyway, that's the date also where my sister is graduating. So she's finishing college. I was like, okay, I have to do something for myself now. So yeah. So I went back, and for a couple of years, I worked in a BPO also here in Bacolod. It's just to start something off. And then that illness went back again after a few medications. So the doctor said that you need to do some changes. So yeah, I stopped working. And after working, I would like, how may I get the source now? Like, how may I get the income? So I check in my skills, what I can sell or what I can earn from.
Offer the world.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, why not do art? I started an art shop in Bacolod, and
Nice.
I was brewing coffee, and the people coming, they was like asking, do you sell coffee or something like that? And then I was like, I found an opportunity. Oh, why not sell coffee?
So it's a gallery first and then became a coffee shop?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I actually the one who started the art and coffee shop concept in Bacolod, and then it just, the concept was like,
Started to spread.
yeah, started to spread.
Nice. Very cool. How long did you run that?
For the pandemic, we are going 5 to 6 years already.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
It was the COVID actually that stopped the business. And
Yeah.
well, it was heartbreaking. Like, it's my life's work for me. And I created a community there. People just coming in, not for coffee or for what, sometimes just to have a talk or for a conversation. Yeah.
And then after COVID, you didn't go back to that?
After COVID, during COVID, we integrated the business. We did it in the apartment. I made a contract with Food Panda for delivery service. So we did that for a year. And and then things started opening up again, and I find it becoming obsolete, the food delivery business, because go back to places again. I've been planning to go to Dumaguete or to move to Dumaguete actually, or the Oriental before the pandemic happened.
Why?
I've been visiting this place for once in a while, like every December. Before my sister was working here, so I would visit, and I really fell in love with the place. And I was thinking that
Me too.
maybe
Let's not tell anyone.
yes, maybe you should do some business and maybe find a way to live here. I really love the environment.
Me too.
Yeah, that gave us a strength to stop the business and think about something else. And then opportunity came along that I was invited to facilitate an art music festival in Darwin. Yeah, that's in the hostel.
Nice.
And I managed the hostel for 2-3 months before I moved into San Jose. I managed the resort. Yeah, and I find a way. I think that's a way to, maybe it's the universe that creates you or gives you that path that you want, as long as you're just persevering or just working with its flow. Maybe I think we have to develop the skills to sense that we are on that path or we are going on that curve. Yeah, they might be
like opportunities appearing and you're in the mode to be able to see them, or
yes,
something like that.
Yeah, or yeah.
Do you think people, I don't really have an answer to this myself, and it's esoteric, and I don't know if we can even answer it, but
Yeah.
Do you think most people are getting similar opportunities, but they just don't even see them and they just don't take them because they don't look like what they're looking for? And so the universe is trying to give them stuff, but they just reject it? Or what do you think it's like?
I would actually, I actually see it that way, that sometimes we miss opportunity because we are too distracted, though what the peers are telling us or what's the society are giving us. That if we dig deeper into ourselves, it's there. It's actually laid out. You just have to feel it. You just have to sense it and just have to work with it. If you have that desire in your heart, I'm sure that it really will come along. You just try and sit down and be one with yourself first, instead of having this fork in the road with all these distractions in our society or in the environment.
I love what you're saying right now. And think I've learned quite a bit about this in the last handful of years, you're just paying attention, leaving enough time and space to listen. How do you do that? So you said sit down and be one with yourself so that you can be more tuned in and not be so distracted by everybody else telling you what to do or being, I would say it's usually something like we think we're supposed to go down this path. We think we want all this certainty about what's in front of us. And we get so
Right.
attached to that plan, right? So then we get
Yeah.
blind. We can't see things. So how did you learn to sit down and be one with yourself? And how do you do it?
For me, uh, it's just intuitive. I mean, I think it's already in my system that I do have plans, like a great plans or like a structure, but I don't have concrete. I don't like make concrete paths for it. Whatever comes along the way, as long as I'm getting on that like objective or goal that I wanted. So say I'm going to the market and there's a straight path, but then there's another path. So like choose which one. But what I would do is, so you're walking on that path and then there's a little curve in the lower way. I might not take it. Maybe it would lead you somewhere closer to it. Sometimes it's just looking straight forward that we ignore the other things inside. That
Yeah.
sometimes that would lead us to a shortcut, something that we're trying to
Yeah.
achieve. Yeah.
So tunnel vision, like a horse
Yeah.
with blinders.
Yeah.
Cool. Love your story so far. I would like to head toward wrapping up by asking you a few questions about, you've talked about crafting yourself. You've mentioned that several times.
Yeah.
What are some of the ways that you grow yourself or learn intentionally? Like, how do you grow yourself outside of art? In other words, what are the habits you have? Do you read books? Do you watch YouTube videos? Like, how do you intentionally learn new things?
Yeah, I really read like tons of books. If I can do it every day, like if I have the time every day, I would read something or even just an article on the internet. I would spend my time. And yeah, I also watch videos on YouTube and yeah, get something from there. If you're living that kind of life that you're not stuck into just one ideology or one idea or something, you get the best out of whatever there is. If you're getting what's important, and then you just have to know what is not necessary. And just focus on what's applicable for yourself. You can read like tons of books and watch whatever like inspirational videos or articles, but sometimes you have to look at also what's practical for you, what's applicable for you in that environment. Because there are things also that is not geographically applicable, like teaching you how to climb mountains when you're not really in the mountain. So maybe you can just take the approach of being resilient or being like having the endurance to succeed into something or persevere to reach the top of the mountain, though you're not climbing a mountain, but you have that perseverance to pursue something that you wanted. I think that that's applicable.
Nice. And how do you typically choose what to read or what to learn?
I would always focus about something about art and about environment, like how to make or just how to help this environment become healthy and yeah, how to improve my skills in art and at the same time, how that art is applicable to the society or to the environment, how it could create the ripple effect that we wanted to
Nice.
for the community or yeah,
Like the positive ripple effect for the world
yeah.
outside of us. Awesome. As we wrap up, and thank you again for being here and for supporting what we're
Thank you.
doing with Emerge.
Yeah.
I want to ask you if you could think of yourself, let's say 5 years ago, and then
Yeah.
think of who you see yourself as now. What are some of the changes or the growth that you're the most proud of?
That would be something that I can like freely share what I have now or the knowledge and the ideas or the skills that I have. Because before I don't like teaching this to other people. I don't want to, let's say, I just don't want to give an art class because for me that's too personal for me. But now I want to share whatever skills I have, whatever I want also the other people also to be sustainable. So I want to share that sustainability that I learned. So yeah, I think that's the best changes that I've seen for myself, not be so selfish about what I achieve and what I gain. You learn more from sharing, actually. Like you get to learn something if every time I
Yeah.
share something.
The best way to learn is to teach. It sounds
Yeah.
counterintuitive, but it's so true. When we teach other people something we've learned, we just get better. We learn so much. What do you think was holding you back before not wanting to share? Was it you mentioned? Was it that it was uncomfortable, like the discomfort of not feeling good enough at communicating, or just not feeling comfortable with it? Or you said something about selfishness. What were the things that kept you from wanting to share your knowledge before?
I Part of it is I don't want also sometimes when we share and this idea is opposing to other people's ideas. So I don't like to offend or
Mm,
you don't want to like alter other people's mind or give them this path because before I was thinking that this path I'm creating is for myself. So that for me, I think that's selfish also that I'm only thinking about myself creating this path. And then I came to realize that as I am creating this self, I am also molding other people, not knowing like those people that are in my circle that I'm also creating that mold because
yeah.
after all, you cannot mold something without creating that mold in the negative space. We create this mold and we leave that negative space and we are molding also others with what we are doing.
Yeah.
So for me to create the positive mold, then I have to be having that positive output also. Like I have to share it and
Yeah.
not really. And also along the way, I get to meet people which are really happy to share without getting something. Just they just want to give back to the world, and they just want to share. So I wanted to do the same thing. So I want whatever that came in my way, whatever.
Pay it forward.
Yes, paying it forward, like kindness that I received. So I want also to do something like that. So
Beautiful. I love it. Yeah, I really relate with that. And yeah, we are affecting people around us all the time, no matter what, whether we know it or not. So much better to be intentional and try to be conscious of how we can positively affect people around us. And also, humans learn, and as a species, we evolve by learning from each other, whether it's successes or mistakes. So I think it's really
right.
important for us to be more transparent and be more vulnerable, and just like share our learnings in the open, because that's how we all get better. So it's really cool that you're doing
Yeah,
that. You've
yeah,
chosen that.
yeah.
And what, just as we wrap up, like what's something that you're still either struggling with, or like an area you want to learn more or improve? What's something you're interested to learn or grow?
My working process, like my habits, I do procrastinate a lot, but I don't see it as a negative or something that holds me back about development. But sometimes it just from the start on a project, like I have to like sit down and like really think about it, really mold it, like create that structure in my mind before I can start anything. So that's something that I'm working on. Like I want to do something, like I want to create something without thinking about creating that structure, planning that in my head. Like I want to be natural about it. So that's something I'm working on. Yeah, because when I paint something, I have to sit down or like really sleep on it, and before I can have that strength to get up and to hit the canvas or hit
Nice.
the stone or whatever. Yeah.
Very cool. And just that, like, since we've been talking about your work, what are some of the mediums that you work with the most?
I'm doing actually, I do sculpture and I have a I receive actually commissioned project, which is self-made man sculpture. So I've been making a self-made man statue and it will be set in San Carlos. It's going to be like a monument or landmark there. So that's the biggest, that's the big project that I have now that I'm working now. So that project actually, like I've been studying for that project for 3 years already before it become into now, like I have to do it physically. And yeah, that also made me realize that I have been curving myself actually, that I've been molding this self. So studying this sculpture, so that really inspired me a lot.
Amazing. I can't wait to see that sculpture when you're done with it. And congratulations on the commission.
Thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
Kyle, thank you for this interview, for being here, and keep carving yourself into a better version.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this interview on Emerge Stories. We really hope that something here sparked your curiosity or maybe helped you think about something in your life just from a little bit of a different angle or perspective, maybe opened up your mind to something you might be able to do in your life to take more ownership of your own learning and growth. That's the goal of this show. So please join our community, like and share, and tell other people about these stories if they're meaningful for you. And thanks so much for being here.